Hi guys, I'm waiting for you to join in. It's a Saturday morning. We just woke up a while ago. Hi, how are you? Where's my speaker? We just woke up a while ago. It's a Saturday morning. How are you? If you join, please let me know if you can hear me before I go ahead. And after you join, make sure you like the video. And we're gonna continue with the video I did 2 days ago. But then my phone overheated because of the heat that we are experiencing around this time, and it just went off without a signal. I did pin a post. Hi, how are you? Hi, Wanjiru. My phone overheated. I want us to continue with my journey after quitting the employed. And now I decided I'm gonna become I like using my I decided I want to become self-employed. And how was I to go about it, since I didn't have a lot of income to spend on that? Hi, how are you, Vero? Hi, African Queen. Thank you for clarifying that. I am happy to meet y'all here, and I'm doing good, and I hope you are also doing good. It is a Saturday morning, and I want us to continue with my journey as a employed person, as a business owner. So what I did is that I decided I'm gonna be selling. Hi, Felix. I'm gonna be selling goods. And since I didn't have a lot of money, I started with Garissa, Isili. Those of you who know Isili, it is in Nairobi. I would go there and buy anything that you wear under your top clothes. So I would buy underwears, I would buy bras, I would buy bikers. By then they were famous before they got rid of them, and I would sell them door to door. I would sell them door to door. And to take you a little bit back, by when I decided to do the clothes selling, the new clothes selling at Isili, I had a baby already. For some reason, there was someone who was able to confuse me in the confusion mode. You know, when you lose a job, you are in a confusion mode. You don't know what's gonna happen next. You don't know if you still wanna look for another job or you gonna start doing other things. And as young as I was, someone managed to confuse me, and by the time I was starting this business, I was already I already had a baby. Because the reason as to why I stayed long without starting the business is because I became pregnant, and I had some money that I had saved from the 10,000. 10,000 by then was a lot of money. Guy. Giri Kovi. So that money I used to buy baby clothes and stuff, and we kind of like were living together. So when I got the baby, I was like, you know what? I am now free. Just to go back a little bit, I keep on going back. When I was out of work, I had a lot of free time. And I was young, because if it is today I had a lot of free time, I would use it wisely. I used it to get pregnant, by the way. I used my free time to get pregnant. That is not true. But because I had a lot of free time, I had a lot of time to mingle with people, and in between, I was confused by someone, and we confused each other, and we made a baby. So when I was going to Isili, guy, I'm even blushing. When I was going to Isili, I had a little baby. a 3-month baby. And I said, enough is enough of me staying in the house. That wasn't my thing. It has never been my thing. Me staying in the house, it has never been my thing. Because I feel like life has stopped. Babies are good, you are right. I wish I got more back then. Because by now, I would be very free, doing business full time without thinking about I'm picking up who or who. They would be very dependent. By the way, getting babies when you are young is a plus, but we all get frustrated when we get pregnant at a young age, because maybe we don't have someone who can tell us it is the right time. You can make it, you will make it, they will grow. So back to my entrepreneur story. I said enough is enough for me to stay in this house waiting for money, just the money that someone will come and decide this is the amount I'm gonna leave for you today. And I said I wasn't used to that. I'm used to me going out there making money. Even if it's 100 shillings, it was making sense. What did I do? I picked up my baby and I tied him mbele, nilimfunga bele, because he was very young. I couldn't tie him from back. So, and by then the road to Garissa from Juja Road, guy, I can still remember the roads. The road to Garissa from Juja Road, it used to have a lot of ditches. And I mean metaro, it was valleys. And it used to rain a lot, so those ditches will collect a lot of water, and then the buses will go in there because it was the shortcut. By then the other Garissa main road was being constructed and there was a lot of traffic jam, so cars would go behind Garissa. Those of you who have lived in Dandora or Umoja or those areas, they know how we used to approach Garissa. So I went there and I only bought each half dozen of each merchandise that I wanted. Half bra, that is 6 bras. I bought 6 panties, and I could buy several designs. And I also bought some bikers. And what else did I buy? I think that's it. Maybe men's boxers and stuff. And that is how I started my business, with as little as 2,000 Kenya shillings. And I went home with my baby. All I remember is that when we were going through those ditches, because they were very deep, and the bus would come, the water would be almost half the window. That is how deep the bus had gone. And this baby here is a newborn. And I was getting very, very fearful, and it was better for me to stay there and feel the fear, and I'm doing something than me staying home doing nothing. So that was how I started my business, and I could go home and start selling when the baby sleeps. I didn't have a house girl back then. I hired a house girl later. I would go back home, call people, tell them what I'm selling, and I would take to them. And you know, one good thing about selling innerwears is that nobody buys one. Nobody. Nobody buys one. Most people will take 2 or 3. And I used to tell them, maybe they don't have money right there. They would tell me, my husband comes at the end of the month. Can you come back at the end of the month? I'll pay you. I would do that. That is what I used to do. And remember, my stock is not that much. So I would go sell, and then whatever little money I get, I go back to Eastleigh and buy more. At some point, I realized that I cannot keep on lending people because it's eating my stock or my profit either. So I figured out, why don't I try selling second-hand goods, that is mutumba. And how am I going to do this? Eastleigh, Gikomba is next to Eastleigh. So I one day went there and I took a tour. I didn't know anything about Gikomba. I took a tour. The same way I didn't know anything about Eastleigh, I just went there and figured out how things are done. I went to Gikomba. Gikomba is one place that is ever muddy. Gikomba is ever muddy. A lot of mud, a lot of gishoro. I went there the first day and the shoes that I had on couldn't make it out. The following day, I found better shoes and I went to Gikomba. Gikomba, they cut the bales every single day. All you need to do is to get there on time. if you don't want to use a lot of money, you have to go later in the day when they are clearing their clothes. You're gonna get better clothes, but not camera. I went to Gikomba and I started selling men's shirts. I could take men's shirts, women tops, and I would try to choose in between camera and the average. So I used to have them classy tops. And for the shirts, I used to just take the ones that they sell at 100 bob, and I would go and sell them at 250 after ironing and making them look like new. By the way, men's shirt in though they go for 100 when you are buying and selling at 250 is something worth it. Very nice shirt. I did that and I could go to town hawking in the offices. I used to have a very big handbag. I would hang it, and by then I had a house girl. I had to hire a house girl because I decided I'm gonna go the big way. I'm just gonna hire a house girl and I'll be free to go anywhere. So I would go from Gikomba, I would go all the way to town, and I would call friends that I know work in offices, and I would tell them, tell your friends that I sell this and that, and I'll come and sell to them at this time. I would go there, sneak in, and go and sell and make money. I used to make money and it was good, but I also owed my house girl 1,000 and what? 800, I guess. 1,800 or $2,000. So she used to be a day scholar. Once I get home, she goes home. So I did that and the business was doing good. And I got to a point where my friend Sue was by then married and she didn't have a baby. But she was, was she married or she was living by herself? Something like that. I think she was married. But she didn't have a baby. Niyo na did she? She was married, but she didn't have a baby. So we collaborated with her and we started selling mutuba. I taught her how to go about selling mutuba. By then I was a professor of mutuba selling. She came, we started going to Gikomba together. We would buy ladies' tops. When it is January and the kids are going back to school, we would go and buy school shirts and we would iron them. She was living in Limuru. I was living in Dandora. We would meet at Gikomba. We would select the merchandise, iron them, and then go back and sell them at Githurai 45. By then, the highway was still being built. We would go there, find somewhere to sell them. And one day, when we were selling clothes, there happened to be a very heavy rain, and it came as a surprise. It just started raining and it rained and rained and rained, and on our way home we couldn't even find the main road. We couldn't separate the sewer line and the main road, and we could hear people are getting drowned. But either way, we had to go home, and we were going home to her sister's house, Zippy's house. Guy, my God, my life in Nairobi revolved around Susan, myself, God, and Zippy. It revolved around those four characters. So that day we almost drowned on the sewer, but that did not stop us from coming back tomorrow to sell the school uniforms because it was around January. I don't know where rain came from January, but it was a very heavy rain. And at the evening we could hear the news how many people were drowned along the sewer lines. And you know how Nairobi is. In most cases, the sewer lines are not closed. So it is very easy to trip from the road and you get drowned. And the water was like Tana River, the amount of a Tana River. So that continued up until I started now a shop for selling milk. I have been a milk seller. Kama kuna kitu sijawahi jaribu kwa hii life, guy, hakuna, there is nothing. I became a milk seller. I had a kiosk, a shop, and I would get milk supply from people from the villages, and they would bring milk there, and then I would retail the milk. I would buy wholesale and retail the milk. And then I tried to make it like a shop. One day I would try to sell mandazi. One day I would try to add something that is not there. And at the end of the month, I had a full shop and a milk shop whereby I would sell ready milk and also fresh milk. And I had a lot of customers. My milk was selling. All of it was selling. Anything I tried to sell in Nairobi was selling. So I didn't succeed in being hired or employed, but in business I was doing all good. I sold milk up until a point whereby I had to give away or to let go the shop because the owner needed it. What did I do? I said I'm gonna continue being a business person, and I will go to Nyeri town and find a shop. I come from Nyeri, so I'll go to Nyeri town and find a shop where I can do business. By then, business was in me so much that I couldn't even think about being hired. I had tried to look for a house in Nairobi, but the goodwill plus the stock and stuff, I couldn't come up with it. So I decided to go to Nyeri because I can afford the store. I would afford a shop there, and the goodwill was not that much. I went to Nyeri along Highland. It was called Highland area. It was next to a brewery, a depot of Johi. So that is where I set up a restaurant. It is not a porch one, but it was looking so classy, and I got it painted very nicely, and it was also a milk area. I would also sell fresh milk and boiled milk, hot milk. So entrepreneurship was in me. By then I was pregnant with my second born, something that got me by surprise. That is what we say. You do unprotected sex and then you say it was by a surprise. That is hypocrisy. So my hypocrisy here comes in. It got me by surprise. I didn't know I would get pregnant, even though I did not protect myself. So I really wanted to make it in life. I had a thirst to make it in life. Up to date, I don't joke with poverty. If there is something I cannot dare going back to, I better go back to my ex and not poverty. That is a joke, by the way. So I had this thirst of becoming an entrepreneur and remaining in business and making more money than I made yesterday. And I knew for real, if I remain hired, I will never make more than my salary. Yeah, I did keep my pregnancies. I will never get more than what I got yesterday. And that is the number one thing that pushes me so hard up to date to remain a businesswoman, because I have a widow whereby I can increase what I earn. But being employed, I cannot make more than I made yesterday or last month, because it is the usual salary that I will get unless I do something by the side. And in most cases you find that you cannot be able to do something by the side when you are hired, because they take most of your daytime. So you don't have any other time you can dedicate, or even though there is always a way out. What did I do? I could sell milk, and at some point, even though I was pregnant, I hadn't found a supplier who would come up to where I was to drop off milk. So I used to go to Nyeri town, somewhere called Wakulima. Wakulima is a very big brand. They sell milk. It's a Mokoroine company that sells milk. Those of you who knows it, I would go there with a mutungi, and they would fill the mutungi. It's 20 liters, and I would walk down. Sometimes I would take a boda, but then the math was not mathing. You know, when you are an entrepreneur, you get to understand that 20 shillings can make a difference in your business. So I would go down with that milk all the way to Highlands. That place I was living is called Highlands. It's in between Kingongo and Nyeri town. So I would carry that on my back, and I'm pregnant. I am pregnant, and I also have a 20 liter mutungi on my back, jar on my back, and I would walk down and go and sell that milk to make some profit. People come from far. Success is not something that is put out bare like this for you to grab. You have to fight for it, and you can fight for it for so many years. if you do not have patience in you, you will never find it. Success requires a lot of patience. Okay, selling milk in Nyeri and cooking madazi, cooking chapati, and I was very lucky. Again, I was making 500 profit per day. To me, that was the world. It was the world, because 500 profit per day, and the house was worth 3,500 at the end of the month. I could see I have some margin of some profit, and I was living in the same house behind, and the front was my shop. I was very lucky because I was close, or I was next to the depot. Every day when they were having some delivery of the Tusker and the beer, I would get a lot of customers, because the people who will come to unload the beer, they will come and eat at my place, and they would eat even twice. They are men and they are doing heavy job. So that used to be my venture back then, and that is when the news of me coming to America got to me. I can remember that day. I can remember how I was wearing. I used to wear this sweater. It was gray and black sweater, and I used to wear small skirts. And the minute I received that call, my mind went out of me, and I started seeing myself in America. And it came to pass, because I am now telling this in America. So that used to be my business, and that is the final business that I did. The next business that I did, because in between I got a baby, and I went to live in the village for like 3 months. And when I healed from postpartum, I went back to Nairobi. And in Nairobi, I started now doing vibaruas, washing people's clothes. I know you that is even getting me emotional. I started washing people's clothes as a way of income. I didn't go back to Isli, I didn't go back to Gekoba, but I started washing people's clothes. I remember one lady in Comarox. She would give us a lot of clothes to wash, and she didn't like paying us enough money, and she looked well up, but she was generous. She would cook us some very nice tea. You see, the tea that has a lot of milk and a lot of majani and balanced sugar. She used to give us that tea, and it was working miracles. When you are too tired, or when you have worked for too long, that tea sounds, or maybe tastes like uhai. It's like uhai. It's like life. So before I came here, I used to wash people's clothes as a way of earning income, as we were trying to come up with the green card fees, so that now we end up in America. What am I trying to say? God is good. You can try so many things in life, but God will make things happen for you. God will crown your effort in one way or the other. God did not bless me through the business that I was doing, but He made sure He blessed me in a way that the business could not have done it. I am pretty sure, I don't know how many years I would have sold those innerwears for me to make enough money to live the life that I live today. I don't know how long I could have done that, but God made it. He fastened the process by making sure that I win green card and I come to America and get the life that I have fought for so many years without giving up. I am a hard worker by choice, because I know hard work pays, and I know there is no single good thing for a person who is lazy. Laziness will never pay you anything. It will just give you more poverty and more poverty and more poverty. So what I'm trying to say is that keep trying doing something. God sees it, and the nature is not that mean to always pay you with bad things or with something that is not equal to your effort. God Himself is not a God of injustice. One day God will come and crown your effort. It does not matter what way He's gonna use. He might not use the way that you think He's gonna use, but He will come at the right time. here in America, I came here and I went back now to being employed because that was the route I would have taken to begin life in America. But even though I was employed, I was still doing biashara. I was still doing entrepreneurship. After 2 years, I enrolled myself in with Uber. So during my free time, when I'm not working, I'll be doing some Uber rides, and that would give me some few dollars on the side. Here in America, I am a business woman. I own a company, my own company, a registered company, and that is where I work full time. That is my full-time job. But I also make sure, because business is up and down, and you cannot control that. That is controlled by the market. So what I do is that I make sure I have all the apps that can work as a self-employed person in America. One of them being Uber, second being food transportation, third being becoming a shopper. You can shop for people and they pay you. And four being any app that hires people privately. Private people like caregivers. Any app that provides jobs privately, or private contractors that can give you, you can become a caregiver, you can become a private or maybe a sitter or anything. That is what I do, because I do not believe in just relaxing and letting things happen. There is nothing that will happen as a magic. You have to move things in order for things to move. You have to move them. So my dream of becoming an entrepreneur became true after like 8 years or 7 years in America. I was employed for 6 years. I worked for one company straight 5 years, and then the 5th and 6th year I worked at another company. So in 1 year I was working 2 jobs, and I was never fired. I've never been fired, by the way. In America, I've never been fired, ever fired. And that is how I came to realize my life wasn't in Kenya. My life was destined to be in America. And I didn't know, and I wasn't paying enough attention to what God was telling me. Eventually, I came to realize God was telling me, move. This is not where you belong. Move. And that is why everything I would start wasn't like enough for me. It wasn't doing good, because God wanted me to come here in America and settle here. Sometimes we are too busy doing things such that you don't listen to God. It is very important to listen to what God is telling you. Listen to what God is telling you. Set aside some time to pray and ask God your way forward, because He knows it. He created you. He has your life after. He had your life even before you were born, and right now He has it. So He's the only one who knows where you are supposed to go, how you are supposed to do things, and what state or where your life is. God knows it. He knows the end as He holds the beginning. He knows everything. I was so much not happy with myself because of not listening to the will of God. I wasted a lot of my energy trying to do it myself and not listening to what God or how God wanted it done. Anyway, He's God full of mercy, and He made sure He delivered His promises to me even though I wasn't attentive. Eventually, God made things happen. How? I was washing clothes, and I felt like I was so much fed up with Kenya. I was so much fed up with the life that I was living. I was living without knowing how tomorrow gonna be. I was living without having clothes that I can say can fill one bag. And that life wasn't the life that I was looking forward to having when I grow up. I was now grown up and I didn't have it. So I felt like I was very fed up with the life that I was living. And when I was washing my clothes, I had a voice that told me, your life is somewhere else. Your life is somewhere else. And as I was washing clothes, I would see somewhere else that I didn't know. The way you can see somewhere else, and hear the sound, but you don't even know where. And all of a sudden, something told me, apply for green card. Call this lady. There is a lady who used to tell me, see, you're very young, go play green card, uende Maju. And I used to ask her, sasa Maju, mbona wewe hujaenda Maju? And I was very young back then. I was in my 21, because I got my first child when I was 22, turning 23. And here I am now, washing clothes. By then I was like 23, 24 years old. And that voice was the transformation of my whole life. But the difference is I listened to that voice that time. I listened. I paid attention. If I didn't pay attention, I would be in the Dora today doing whatever I was doing, the same thing I was doing. Because I only owned one shoe. And life goes up as your child grows. I called that lady. By then we had even fell apart. I didn't even have her number. Hi, how are you, Anne? And she asked me who it is. I told her it is me, and I'm looking for the number I want to go and play green card. By God's plan, that time is around the time green cards are played. It's the lottery time, and it was towards the end of October. Green card time frame ends in November, at the beginning of November. I took the number, and right there and there, niliacha manguo kwa karai. I left the clothes halfway, and I went to town. I went and played green card that day, even though I didn't know what it was, even though I didn't know how to approach it. I went there, I explained myself, and he was like, and how comes you have just thought about it when it's going on? I was like, oh yeah. And then he was like, did you bring some passports? I'm like, I was supposed to. I didn't know nothing about green card. That day, that was the beginning of my miracle. That was the beginning of my life turning to a totally different direction. A direction I had never thought. A direction I had never ever even imagined. But God can do things in a span of 0 seconds. I played green card, and that is when I went to Nyeri to do the business, and now coming back, and it is processing the green card, and I am washing clothes for people to come up with money for green card. And I did it, and I was happy doing it. One thing about me, when I choose to do a certain job, I don't care what you think about it. I don't. At one point when I was doing the business, my friend told me, you know what? Someone told me, if you go to Nairobi City Center and try to sell Gishugi, Moiko, this stuff that goes for $10, you will make a lot of money. I can tell you for sure, up to date, maybe she still has the Meiko, because we didn't end up selling anything. And still, when I was selling the ladies tops and the men shirts, I tried to sell at the city center. That day I was arrested by Kajo. The city council arrested me, and I was locked up in a cell. So I have been through a lot of life. I know what is to be a house girl. I know what is to be looked down as a house girl. I know what is to be a hawker. I know what it is to be a housewife. I know what it is to be an employee who is not appreciated by the employer. I have been to so many phases of life, and not even talking about my personal life. If I tell you about my personal life, you will collapse, and I don't want you to collapse. I want you to live. I have been through so much, but I thank God, because the so much has only molded me to be the person that I am today. And now I know what it is to own. I didn't ever own even 10,000 Kenya shillings in Kenya. The first time I owned is the first time I was fired and I was paid for service. The service for entire year was 10,000. The match I owned was 10,000. But now I know, I am a witness that God can make you own the same money in millions. The same money that I used to lack. I cannot count how many times my bank would go negative in Kenya, and it happened in America. But then I thank God because He opened my eyes. He brought me to a place where I was supposed to be, and I would thrive the way I wanted. Me, I like opportunities. I like grabbing opportunities when I come across one. Because in this life, you have to be a person who is thirsty, very thirsty, and very hungry for success. Success is not something easily findable. It's not easy to find success. Even in America, you will be in America and be bankrupt. You will be in America and still stay being employed because you have the fear to start your own company. It is not hard, by the way. It is very easy in America to start up a company than it is to start a company back home. Because in America, everything is open. Yeah? So I just thank God for the so many opportunities. Yes, findable. That's my own word. It is so... what kills people's dreams in America is the fear. We Africans, we are not bold enough to grab opportunities in a foreign land because we think we are only supposed to come here and be limited to being employed. Me personally, being employed is not my thing, but I can still be employed circumstantially. I am that one person who doesn't rely with one side of life. Like I have to sit like this. No, I don't know how to live like that because I know life is broad and complex, and so are the opportunities out there. Only that we want to angle ourselves a certain way and not move. America has a lot of opportunities. America, you can become anything you want. You can build your career, you can build your company, you can build your clientele, anything. You can become anything, and you can start up something in America and make it be. No one will limit you as long as you comply with the rules and policies of the land. You can do anything and you can become anything. And so here I am. I thank God for the opportunity, and I cannot wait for the heights that God is taking me, because I know the heights are still heightening. And not just one company. I will own a lot of companies, and I will own a lot of real estates. They are there waiting for me. The only thing I need to do is to activate my faith and start working towards what I want to see in the future coming true. So the reason behind the name Esiwa Kago, I used to go by Esther Maina. Those who know me back in high school, the name was Esther Maina. But then I changed my name to Esiwa Kago because that's gonna remain my brand. I want to make my father famous in America. That name will be known here in America. That man worked so hard to take me to school, and it is the same certificate that was used by God to bring me to America. I will honor that by making sure a real estate will be established here in America by his name. That name, that is the name I want to shine. And Wazungus will come to know about Kago. They will come to know about it. Because one day I'll be seated down and they will be interviewing me in the big stations, American TVs. And they will ask me, how did you come up with your brand name? And then I will give that story. That is how, by God's will. Maina is my father, but he's famously known. My father has two names. Me, I know him as Kago because that is how we grew up, knowing him and hearing him being called. But then Maina is his official name, and very few people know him as Maina. If you go to my village and ask Maina's home, nobody knows. If you ask Kago, everyone knows him. So I will make, that is my brand name. I will grow a real estate. I build a real estate and it shall go by his name, because I want him to be known here in this land, that God made sure I will come and excel here. And yes, my generation will be known here in America. My entire generation, starting with me. And I have faith because I know America has a lot of opportunities. This pool in America will never get drained. And that is why I keep telling people, if you know that you do not have a life that you would like to have wherever you are, make every effort to come to America, either through education, either through green card, either through whatever means. There are so many ways to come here to America and try a new life here. There are so many opportunities to change yourself and change your entire generation. That is starting with you moving forward, your kids and everybody. I thank God that even after trying so many things, he brought me somewhere. I will try a lot of things effortlessly. I thank God. I am so thankful. God knows how much I tell him thank you whenever I'm in America. Sometimes I even ask God, is it me? Is it me? Is this me? Is this me? Is this the real me? Is this me, the me that used to be ridiculed by women in a plot, thinking that my life was there, or thinking that I have made it more than them, yet I was struggling equally with them? Is this me who has never ever washed clothes again using my hands since I stepped in America? Is this me, God? You mean you knew all this even when I wasn't yet in my mother's womb? God keeps our blessings enclosed, because if God shows you the life that he's gonna give you later in life, you will be very arrogant probably. He took me through every single step. Like God can refine you without mercy. When God is taking you through the process, he does it without mercy. He will not be sympathizing with you, because all he cares about is to see you being the product. He focuses with the product. And he will take you through a lot. A house girl. He will take you through being arrested as a hawker. He will take you through so that he can build me to be the person that I am today. Today, if I go to Kariobangi or if I go to Korogosho, always happy for you, girl. True, our lives should be a mirror of showing the greatness of God. Oh yes. If I go to Korogosho, I will be very fine. I will stay there without complaining. I will mingle with the people because I have been to their level. Maybe I've never lived in slums, but I have ever lived in a ghetto. There is a very slight difference. So I can be there. I can persevere the hot Mabati house during the day, and because God wanted me to be a very humble person in the later years, he made sure he took me through every step. He made sure I become a house girl, and I will not even be able to work as a house girl. My life was so confused. He made sure I live in a ghetto. He made sure I live in a plot where women are always fighting about the clothesline. Oh my God. I thank God, because the last time I saw a clothesline was when I was in Nairobi. He has taken me through every step of life, so that when he gives me what I have been fighting for so long, I will be a humble person. I will be a person who can understand each and every person. Me, if you bring a boy here 3 years old, I'll be able to interact with that boy. If you bring a person who's very rich, I'll be able to listen to them. Probably interrupting, because rich people don't like that. I can stay with any type of a person. I can live in any life. I can go anywhere and be comfortable. I am very flexible. I am very open, but not to what the devil can say. The only time I'm not open is when the devil speaks. I don't want to hear what he's saying, he's talking about. But here I am in America, and things can only get better with God being the driver of this vehicle. I know I desire to be. Hi girl, we bless the Lord for your wisdom. We thank God for everything you have, Miss Essie. Please talk about how to start in life, step by step. Yeah, I will talk about that on your next video. Tell us other ways we can try to come to America apart from as a student green card. The visit process of coming to America was made very narrow, and it's becoming narrower with time. Since COVID, visiting visa has become very, very hard to get. But as I say, I've never had anything too hard for God. It is always good to keep on trying. You never know what door God can use. I believe in the God of who works against the odds. I believe in trying. Keep trying up until you go to the grave. Don't be that person who says, I have tried green card 3 times, 4 times, and I gave up. What did you give up? What did you give up? How can you give up your dream? You cannot give up your dream. Keep trying up until something happens. Keep knocking up until that door opens. I know it is hard to try without fruits, but it is even very hard to not try. So keep on trying, and I wish people would know that coming here with education is easier than anything else. It is very expensive, but it is easier than anything else. Because you coming here with education visa, you are benefiting the country. They consider that. You're going to be paying fees. So, do your math and try to go through schools that offer scholarship. It might not be full scholarship, but it could help you cut down the cost. Another thing, I have a friend who came here and she's 0 fee. She graduated last year. This year, May. Sorry. She came here as a runner. Marathoner. And I asked her, how did you become a marathoner? She was dying laughing. She was like, you think I used to run back home? No. I became a runner so that I can earn this scholarship. So sometimes it's good to be wise. Even though you have never, if you play any type of activity, games, you can benefit with scholarship from schools here in America. You just go to their portal, website, apply, and then they ask you to say what you do, like extra co-curricular. Just say that you do something and start practicing doing that thing. All you need to do is when you come here, you will dedicate your whole life, school life, to doing what you said you do for your school, which is not too much to ask. Imagine not paying $5,000 per semester just for you to run. I would run until I faint, and when I faint, I will wake up and faint again, and until I finish, because it is more beneficial than me paying or digging from my pocket $4,500 or 5,000 or 6,000 being an international student. Information is very important, but the fear that people have to face things is what makes them to draw back and forget about their dreams. They give up their dreams. If you have a dream to ever come to America, you will come to America if you keep that dream alive. If you kill it, it's gone. You are the dream holder. You are the visionary. So if you kill your dream, it is dead and it is gone. Go to the website, school websites. If you know you finished school so many years ago, high school, stop applying for the colleges and apply for the universities to come here and do further education, a degree or a diploma. Then when you get here, You can try to change that to a community college because it is way cheaper to pay fee na community college than a university. And then we utajipanga. The President William Samoei Ruto of Kenya, he keeps telling you guys, hii mambo ni kujipanga. Sitaongea beyond that. If you know, you know. So, school opportunities are a lot, and you can always apply any time of the year. You can apply to come here as a student. Go to, let me give you one of the schools that you can apply. You can apply to Oral Roberts University. It's in Oklahoma. You can apply there and apply for scholarship. There are so many schools that you can apply through that don't have application fees, and also they can offer you, any school can offer you scholarship as long as there is something you can do for them. Hizi vitu nipe nikupe. It's a give and take. Give and take. Unaona? So, if you can do something for a school, then you are an investment to them. They will invest in you. They will pay all your school fees, and now you're gonna be their investment. Be doing activities for the school, competitions and stuff. And we are Kenyan. We can do all things through Christ. You don't have to be a Kalenjin to be able to run. You can run being a Mwangi. You can still be a Macharia and run, because this is motivated by what you are getting. Back in high school, I used to do the cross country, and trust me, I used to become number one. Am I a marathoner? No, but I was so determined to be number one so that I can go to the competitions, and I used to do that. So you can become anything so that you can get what you want. Okay, we have to be wise in this life. You have to be swift, someone who can change to match what is required. Sio kulalia maskio. You cannot sleep on your ears. Kulalia maskio. Now. So guys, let's keep praying and thanking God and asking God for ways and listening to what the God is saying, and I will come back with more info about the school and nini ingine mmeniuliza, and about guys Shieko. Haki, you have made me laugh loud that you ran, you fainted. Oh yeah, you will faint and rise up and faint again until you finish. And I asked that lady, do you love running? She was like, no, I hate it. I hate it. I only do it because I have to get the fee. They have to pay for my fee. How to start life in America step by step. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, my gospel songs, actually I'm gonna be shooting for more videos, more gospel songs this August. So by the end of August we shall have more gospel songs on my YouTube. I am reviving it. House tour jameni. What? The house tour. Where? That's why African women do well in Western countries. How do you do it with kids? How do I do it with kids? Let me tell you one thing. There is something called lanes. On the highway, each person is supposed to follow their lane, and if you want to cross to the other lane, you must put an indicator. If you don't do that, you violate the traffic rules and you stand a chance of getting a ticket because you violated. The same thing in America, and I keep saying, keep lanes. Stop living your life like the other person. You don't know when they came here. You don't know what they do. Maybe they went to school, they have a career, you don't. Keep lanes. Stop being in a group of people just to fit in and suffocate there to match them. They want you to spend $5,000 one weekend, and you are doing it to just make them happy. Stay in your lane. If you have a budget of $100 per weekend, stay there. That is your lane. Build yourself first, spend later. Okay? How I make it with kids. How I make it with kids is that is one reason why I am an entrepreneur, because I can manage my own time. That makes sure I have my schedule can hold my kids' schedule as well. That makes it easy for me to make money and still be the parent that I'm supposed to be. That is how I balance everything. And it is not that hard if you can do your math well. If you come here and you are single parent and you need to know how to navigate and how to do things, I will take you through the career, how to do things and things that you can do from the comfort of your house. I will tell you, but then you have to reach out to me before you rent a house, because some of the things that I can advise you to do, they will need you to have an extra room. So, well, just stay connected. I pray for real estate dream, what makes America so different for you compared to Kenya. Amen for the American real estate. Yes, I even have, I can see it. I see how it looks like. And it shall come to pass. What makes America different is that America has got a lot of opportunities, and you can just be anything because nobody is blocking you. In Kenya, for you to open up a company, to register a company, you will go through so many hongos. And the hongos sometimes consumes your money. And even when you are doing the business, they still want to come to your business and take money from you illegally. And if you don't, they're gonna threaten to make your company go down. So in America, there is nothing like that. You just flourish. As long as you're doing things the right time, you get enough customers into your business, and you are professional, because you have to be very professional here in America. And you know how to talk to people. Wewe si wale watu wa kukasirika haraka. You don't get angry easily. You can be able to balance your pH, your anger and pH, and still be smiling when you are very much angry about something, you know. So it is very easy to make it in America than anywhere else in the world, in my thinking. Having lived in Kenya, having tried to do business in Kenya, and I believe in America it's easier because there is nobody ever who will ever try to deny you your right. Nobody will ever run up with your money. If they do, they are lawyers and they can be made to pay. You see? And also, because of the system itself is very friendly to work with just anything. If I want to be somewhere within 30 minutes, I will get there because the highways will give me that. They will favor me. There is no traffic. You see? There are daycares that can work with your baby or your kids as you go to work. There are options. There are ways. If you are a single parent in America and you need the government help, there is a way you can get help. Like daycare, you can get some 90% money for daycare from the government, free of charge, if you want, if you need it. I don't need it because I believe I'm supposed to need it when I need it. I don't need it. I can take care of that. But if you really need it, because again, for them to pay for you, they will ask you for some income proof, and if you make more than they require you, they won't pay for you. They want to pay for people who really need it. So I don't need it. I don't need it at the moment because I can make it to pay for my child's daycare. So what was the other question, guys? Ategosoka Kenya. When I came here about 4 years ago, I used to say I would want to really retire in Kenya, and I was working very hard to get properties in Kenya. But then God revealed it to me, and He sat me down and asked me, are you sure you will ever take these kids of yours back in Kenya to settle them there? How? They will never go back to Kenya. The minute I set my foot here in America, my kids became American. They have grown up here. They came when they were very young. Now they speak American. They know the American culture. Of course, we speak Kikuyu. I ask them for things. They speak like Spanish. Kikuyu, their Kikuyu is Spanish. But they will never go back to Kenya. If I invest heavily in Kenya, I am being dumb. Because who am I investing for? The reason as to why we invest is for our kids to inherit. Are they going to inherit in Kamulu? Are they going to inherit in what do we call them? Nanyuki? No. Personally, I come from Nanyuki. I didn't even inherit anything from my father. There was nothing to inherit. So, how am I gonna convince my son to go to Nanyuki to live there? Is it his wish? Is he gonna be a grown-up who has his own preferences? How am I gonna tell him to go back to Kenya and settle there? No, I do not have any plans to come back home, because if I am here and my kids are here, I would better be buried here, because that is where my kids are. What am I going back to Kenya to get? I believe my life is here. My life is here. If I will go back to Kenya, maybe when I'll be very old, and I don't even want to give my kids that headache of coming to Kenya to bury me there. It doesn't make sense. A body is a body wherever it can be buried. Even if you are Kenyan and you die in Russia and you are buried there, you don't know if you are there. You will never know you are buried in Russia. It doesn't make no sense to transport me back home to be buried there. It makes no sense to me. I would want to be where my kids will be, because this is my generation, and my generation moving forward will be American generation, Kenyan American. And I thank God that was the will of God. And unless God says something, I'm not planning to come back home, but I do visit. Eventually, actually, there is a way all my entire family might end up here, because I can file for them, and after 10 years, they can come. My siblings, my sisters and brothers, if I file for them, after 10 years, they will come with their entire families. I'm allowed to do that. My father, if my father is a green card holder, he can file for his kids and they can come. You see? So there is a way I can have my entire family here. And that makes it even more harder for me to go back home. I'm not planning to go back home. A footballer who scored a scene. Imagine you can come here in America with any grade. People think the same way we are rated with grades back home, it is the same way Americans rate people. No. Like, I came here and I had a C. My high school certificate, I had a C. And I had a C because when my parents moved me from a boarding school to a day school, I was very frustrated, and I vowed, or I made a decision, I will never study. I will never study. I will be going to class, I'll sit there and listen, that's it. I will never take any extra time to make an effort to study. Otherwise, I was more than that. So I did that because it was a way of expressing my frustration. So I said, I will never even study. I will wake up in the morning and sleep on the table, because my parent would wake me up in the morning to do some extra study. I would wake up and sleep on the table, and that is how I ended up scoring a C. Yeah. So here we go. I came here with a C, and I still went back to I went to college, and the courses that I had performed poorly were chemistry, mathematics, biology, and I wanted to become a nurse. I still do. I'm going back to school, by the way. I wanted to become a nurse. These 3 subjects are needed, and my grades need to go up, to level up. What Americans do, they take you from where you are and they give you courses that are equivalent to, they're gonna be many than a person who scored an A, but whether you scored an A, whether you scored an E, when you come to America, they will give you a test. It is called a placement test. That test, it will show them where you are. If you score so good, they will give you very few classes and you will graduate faster than me, who couldn't have solved the high school equations. I couldn't solve the high school equations because I never cared about math in high school. I scored a D minor, and I thank God for the person who marked the test. I was supposed to get an E. So I got a D minor, but I used to get an A in college. A of the same math. College. So Americans rate you with your where you are, and then they level you up with courses up until you get to the grade where it can be referred to a college level grade. And I took my math, and now I'm in college level grade. And if I want to become, if I go back to school to become a nurse, I will become a nurse, even though I hadn't scored so good in sciences, but now I leveled them up. So they give you a chance to level up so that you can take the course that you want, or you can pursue whatever you want. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question. Onadiwe kiuma kiriko. But kwa green card mwisho ni D minus. Do they even check the grades? Do they check the grades in green card? Yeah, a body is a body wherever you are buried. You don't know. You will never know you are buried in Kenya or wherever. So if you are a footballer and you scored a C, you can apply for a certain course through a university here in America, and then you tell them what you do. You are a footballer. I think they call it soccer here, if I'm not wrong. You are a soccer person. They will invest in you. And you have to have some proof that you do that. So you can join a club, and then pictures and stuff and things. Just prove that whatever you are saying is true. So guys, I hope I answered every question. Anu Ambogo, house tour jamani, fungua chano. Wewe, hapana. That's why okay. Me, I don't like doing house tours because I'm just gonna show you what I have been able to obtain. Na mi sina kitu yangu. I don't have anything that I own. Everything I have is what God has given me. Actually, the reason as to why I show you my cars is because they are old. Yeah, getting babies when you are young is the best decision you will ever make. Imagine what made me to quit school here in America. Wacha niwape the other side of America. What made me to quit school here in America is because of my babies. They were very young. I came here when my babies were 3 years and 1.5 years. So it was very hard to balance full-time job, school, and family. So I had to quit before I joined the program, because the program is accelerated. You are expected to perform, and you are expected to be there so many hours, and I need work, and my babies didn't have a sitter, so I had to stop. But that is not enough reason, because I will go back there as if I never ever left. My question about gun crime, does it scare you? Yes, it does scare me, because I'm a human being, and this thing of shooting, it has never sat well with me. But I only hold on to one truth. We walk through so many dangers, only that they are undisclosed. It is the work of God to guard us or to protect us, and He does that so well. So this is where I apply my faith even more, and I tell God, just do what you do best. That is my approach on the gun policy and the gun crime and the shootings in schools and everywhere, in the malls and everywhere. I try to hold on to the verse, the Bible verse that says, unless Jehovah watches, unless God watches the can you someone tell me what is itora in English? All my English is gone. Unless God watches the, what is it? Motijere. What is a village called? Itora retagwatia. Watches over the city. Okay, thank you. Unless God watches over the city, the watchman's work is in vain. There is nothing you can do to protect yourself too much. Wherever you are, there are so many dangers surrounding you, only that they are undisclosed to you. The gun thing is fearful because it is scary because it is known. So everywhere we go, everywhere we set our feet, it is on danger. We are surrounded by danger. Even when I drive on the highway, I'm surrounded by danger. Only that God protects me. So that is my response or my approach. Let me see. Ulienda America as a single mom or as a married? I came here as a married single. Veronica. Okay. So, yeah. Life happens everywhere. You made my door. Life happens everywhere and we can only be more tough. Do you feel the pressure of illegal migration? Are Americans' attitudes illegal? Americans' attitudes changing towards migrants? I'm gonna give an example with this Kenyan thing. I know each one has had an experience. At one point of life, you have interacted, there is this rivalry between Kikuyus and the Luos. Personally, I think having rivalry between tribes is very unclassy. It is very illiterate to me. It is just being too petty. So these two tribes, they have ever lived to have rivalry. Let's put aside the married single. These two tribes have ever had rivalry. It is the same picture you can build between mostly immigrants and the Americans. And the picture is usually the whites against the blacks. The number one thing that can help you overcome this pressure, I don't have any pressure, by the way, against any white person. I don't feel inferior. I have never, because I believe I'm supposed to be the way I am, nothing else. And since there is nothing that came to that, I just have to take myself as a superior person like any other person. So your attitude will determine how much pressure you feel when you are here in America. Some people have they already have a belief that the white people or the American people hate them. Who told you they hate you? Who told you they even think about you? Maybe they don't. Maybe it's your attitude that needs to change in order for you to feel accepted. You need to learn how to not judge people simply because of what you hear, simply because of how you look, simply because of how they look, simply because of the environment, simply because of what you read somewhere. You read something that made you believe that the Americans are always against the black people or the immigrants. I have lived here for 9 years now, and I have never ever felt the pressure. I live in between white people and I don't have any pressure. They come here, we talk, they cut my grass when they are cutting theirs. I don't think there is any pressure of being an immigrant, but the way you approach things and the confidence that you have in you, it will make you go knock those doors that belong to American people, and they will see you as an equal person. It is all about the confidence that you apply on what you do, and do you believe in yourself, you as you. Nobody will ever believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. The same way, nobody will ever be able to love you if you don't love yourself. This is something from inside. If you want something, come with it. Package yourself with what you want to see out there, and you will see it. Okay? There is no pressure being an immigrant. I've never felt pressurized. I've never approached any white office feeling inferior. In fact, if I need to know something about a certain office, I call them, I book an appointment, I go there, knock, knock, and I sit down with the manager. We get to talk about what I wanted to know instead of me asking people how this is done and they don't know. They also heard about it and they are giving me the wrong information. How much confidence do you have in yourself to approach people with confidence, so that when they see the confidence in you, they see you as an equal person to them? Okay? I mean, you can have been hearing more British complaining that illegal immigrants are living in nice hotels while the British citizens are sleeping on the streets. That is what I mean. Okay, I get you. I get you. Sometimes it's because of the law of people seeking asylum or people seeking government shelter when they come from countries that maybe they are in war, because it is allowed. You can unaweza kuwa mkibizi, you can run to another country and seek asylum there because of the environment back home. It is allowed to do that. But the thing is, immigrants and the land owners or the people of the land, they kind of like feel like in America. I'll give an example with America. Most African American, they feel like we come here to take their jobs. That is how they feel. Like we are here competing, we take what belongs to them. Yet both of us are black. We are black. This is not even a fight against a white and a black person. It's a fight against a black and a black person. That is something just people think about the approach they give it, because the government money that is set aside to help people that are seeking asylum, the people that are seeking shelter, protection, they will never be distributed to the people of the land. That is something, a budget that is usually with the government to help people that are seeking protection. Whether they like it or not, that money belongs to them, and people have to be, they have to be placed in hotels because they cannot be on the streets. So whether they like it or not, that is a budget every government has, even the Kenyan government, to help people settle if they are running for their safety. Lack of knowledge. I would call it lack of knowledge. They don't know, and whatever they think belongs to them doesn't belong to them. It is a budget for that purpose. Okay, you are now getting my point. Thanks for the response. I'm asking too many questions. Now make us laugh. I have seen such a lot even here in Holland. Thank you guys, because you are clarifying this. But there are people are illiterate more than they look. Like, you think people, because they were born in that land, they know more than you do. Little did I know that we know a lot than people that we found here. We know a lot, only that we undermine ourselves. We look at ourselves like small people, yet we have so much that we know. We are learned people. We might not have the degrees, but there is that education that you have in you that has made you brighter than them. Some of them have never boarded a plane, by the way. I once asked my friend what's the difference between Kiagoko and White Lady Mugu, and he said they look alike. Oh my God. OMG. African queen, enough now. Yeah, it's true, we are very exposed. But when we get to the new or when we go to a new country, we tend to see ourselves as inferior people. Yet these people are already threatened by us being there. They are already feeling the pressure. But us is inside, we think they are major, they're just senior people than we are, yet they feel threatened by our presence. So why don't you walk with that confidence, like you are a very bold person who can knock at any door? By the way, my number one principle, me, I can knock at any door. If I need to go and find out how I can start a group home, I'm not gonna call people and ask them, because they won't tell me the whole truth. I'm gonna go on Google, look for the government office that deals with that, and I'll book an appointment with the manager or the CEO. I'll go and sit down. him on the other side, me on the other side, with my accent, with my deep accent, Kikuyu Nyeri accent. And I will ask questions that I wanted to ask. In fact, I go there with a notebook because I don't want to skip any single question that I had. And you know, when you are using English and when you are thinking in your own mother tongue, you are more fluent when thinking, but when talking, translating into English so that you can communicate, it goes paragasha. So I carry a notebook and we sit down and I get to ask all the questions that I have so that I can get to learn how to start a certain company, a certain business. There are so many businesses that you can start in America and they are not limited to anybody. I am a citizen, yes, but that doesn't give me so much over a person who is a green card holder. In fact, there are even people, I don't know how to say this, nitaisema kwa Kiswahili. Kuna watu hapa ambao wamekuja huku na hata hawana karatasi, hawana hizo mavitu na bado wanafanya vizuri sana. Wana excel. Kwa nini? Because they are bold enough to look for ways to do things, like to still do business. Okay? So, you are not limited, and if you are watching this and umekuwa mtu wa kununua uoga, don't ever buy fear. And here in Holland, some citizens don't want to work, but they feel very bad at whatever we buy as working foreigners. Yes, and it is the same case here. So many people don't want to work, but they want to think that they can get the same life that you're getting. And when you get a better life than them, they feel the pressure, they feel like competition, they feel the competition, yet you are working, you are doing the job the way it's supposed to be done. And when you go for a nice car, they are like, how comes they come here and get good cars? And you are like, was I supposed to get an old car so that we can be on the same rank? Yet I go to work. I invest most of the time working. You invest most of your time clubbing. We cannot be on the same level. Immigrants can do exploits. I have seen immigrants doing so good here in America. And me, being an immigrant, a citizen now, I can only count on the so many years that I lived without thinking how big I can become here, simply because I let fear direct me. I was supposed to open my cleaning company back in 2015, 2016. I didn't because of fear. How am I going to approach these white people? Are they going to accept me? Are they going to want to hire me? Like yesterday, I went to pick to do a house tour. Before I become your cleaner, or my company becomes your cleaner, I have to come and tour your house so that I can give you the rates that you're supposed to get. I just remembered I saw the text slide in the morning of a person I went to tour their house, their white family, and he said when we interacted, me ni mtu talkative, by the way. I'm very talkative, I'm very friendly. Ile yenye hainanga ohinga. Me, I don't have hypocrisy. Whatever you see is whatever you get. And that's why I barely do makeup, because I want people get used to me. This is me, and this is what you will meet when you see me. So I went there, we talked and we interacted. We end up going outside the business and having a talk, because I'm a talkative person. I like people. I like knowing what people do. I'm that person. So I went there and I took a tour, and I told him, I'm gonna get home, do my math, and then I'll send you a quotation. And I did. At the end of the day, I did. And he had another person who was coming to tour the house. And when I sent my quote, he was like, in the morning, I saw his text come in. I haven't opened it, but I saw the text, the way they come on the top of the screen. I would want to hire you to be blah, 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 blah. So I am a black person, but I go to white people and I can earn a contract, or I can earn jobs, businesses. Why? Because we are not inferior people simply because we are black. We are not inferior because we have an accent. There is something called the favor of God. God cannot bring you in America to disgrace you here. He will never do that. He cannot take you to Holland to disgrace you there. He wants you to be a representative of his glory. And glory is something that shines. Glory is something that can be seen by anybody, everybody. So God is using us in these foreign countries to represent his glory. God is not a poor guy. He is very rich. He is wealthy, and he will give us a share of his wealthy for us to represent him in the land of the living. Before we die, we will have shown people that our God is a God who is able, who can make you shine in a foreign land regardless of the situations. We can still penya. You can penya sana in a foreign land. If at all, you will look yourself through the eyes of God. When God looks at you, he doesn't see you as a foreigner. There is nothing like a foreign land in the books of God. No. He created every single state. They belong to him. When you are in Holland, when you are in Europe, when you are in Australia, you are not in a foreign land according to God. You are in his land. This is the difference. And that is why he will make you shine, even though other people think you are foreigner. No, you are in your father's land. That is why he's making you shine there, and the owners are not, because they are not able to do the will of God, and you are able to follow the steps of God. Okay? So I love God, and God will push us. He will make us go through and make us shine in these lands. There is a reason why God took you from Kenya. There is a reason God took you from South Africa to bring you to America. There is a reason God took you from Uganda to bring you to America. He knew, and God is not confused. Whether you came here through a visit, through school, through anything. There are so many collegians here that I meet and I get to interact with. They are very good people, by the way. And they tell me, I can see how much they love each other. They pull each other. Unlike us Kikuyu, because of several things, as Kikuyu, we have power, we have the driving power to look for money, but we don't like the process. The Kalenjins, they embrace the process because I think they are used to pushing themselves to run, so they know how to push themselves. There are so many here pursuing degrees, pursuing diplomas, pursuing bachelor's degrees, and whatever they are called. Why? Because they know they will come here through education, but they will end up here in one way or the other. They will end up here. If we can embrace the process, eventually we can be where we want to be. We can be what we want to be. Like I told you, I dropped out of school, but I did not delete my vision of going back to school or becoming a nurse in the future. I'm not becoming a nurse to go get hired, by the way. That is the whole point about it. I'm becoming a nurse to excel in one of the route that I want to take in the future, or maybe I'm embarking on. That is why I want to become a nurse, not precisely to go and get hired. I'm not more about being hired. Yeah, they are making more than $50 an hour. Yes, that is good money. I can still make money, but my entire reason as to why I want to be a nurse is to go in line with what I want to do in the future, okay? Or what I am in the process of doing. Carry your dreams wherever you go. Carry your goals wherever you go. Never ever dump your dreams, even though things sound. I don't know what is going on. Can you hear me now? I just removed the sound here. I speak it. How about now? Can you hear me? Am I hearable? If not, I'm going to end this video. What is going on? Maybe my phone is overheating. It might be overheating right now because I've been here for a minute. But let me put these words as I finish. Please, carry your God wherever you go. Carry your God wherever you go. Carry your dreams wherever you go. And I'm just going to say bye-bye because the sound is not good. Bye, guys, and have a